Welcome to episode 499 of This Week in League. I'm Nate.
And I'm Jay.
And I'm Glennie.
We're back. You're Glennie. Is that the first time you introduced yourself as Glennie?
No. Pay attention,
No, I refuse. I will not. I have not, and I shall not.
Our esteemed listenership deserves your attention.
Oh, look, they probably do, but you know, you don't always get what you deserve. You can't always get what you want. It's a fucking cruel, hard world.
You've been the host of this show for 14 years. People do not get what they deserve.
and look, you know,
if
it was a perfect world, the Tigers would be getting the spoon every year, or in your, you know, from your perspective, the premiership every year. It's not a perfect world, mate. I'll tell you what, though.
You know what I love? I want your introductions to become more and more intricate all season, Glennie.
Why have I got to put more in and you just
putting titles on, like
same piece of shit you've been for years?
But then so just get them so good that by the end of it, like you just dropping verses every week. Like, don't be shocked if I lock you in my car. I'm still Glennie from T-Bar.
Look, I don't know if I got that in me, if I'm honest. Appreciate the sentiment, but
just incrementally, you just build it up week on week, and then by the end, it's fucking amazing. Then you only add in just a little bit every time.
That's it.
I think it's a great idea. That's a great little project for you, Glennie.
Yeah, fuck your projects.
Anyway, we're entering we have entered the happiest time of the year, and by that I mean, of course, Pedro Pascal season. As we hit the convergence of The Last of Us and The Mandalorian on TV in the same week, so but also the footy starts up again, I guess.
Oh, ready for Dinklage, Davidson, and Gabriel. 3 peats. Ready for 3 peats.
Yeah,
I'm sick of this shit already.
Yeah, it's fucking tiresome. Shall we just stop recording, Glennie?
Alright, it's been great, guys. Cease.
Look, I mean, honestly, it's like, what have you done lately? And yeah, on that front, we've got the preseason world champion Mighty Manly Seabs Eagles after the Panthers fucking choked away a 50-point win against the fucking the fucking bastions of Super League.
Yeah, it's what happens. It's what happens when you don't unfortunately have the greatest fullback in the league, Dylan Edwards. You tend to lose. You know, big loss. He's a big out. Anyone of his caliber. So GOAT status confirmed for Dill.
Yes, unlikely. And I tell you, Luai and the rest of them are getting a serious fucking run from their money from Cleary now too. With his fucking kicks a conversion to tie the game up towards the end of regulation. Then he sort of does the little fucking thing that, like, you know, I just did a good kick, so I'm going to treat myself to some heroin on the way home.
Oh,
and
the man's out there bringing awareness to the fucking drug pandemic.
I'll tell you what, at least the best thing was, I'm glad the ink was dry. You know, from a Penrith perspective, I'm glad the ink was dry on fucking Crichton's deal to go to the Dogs. Because I think he'll be glad too, because I think he would have cost himself about $150,000 a year. The way he come out. Now, the way we're going to do this evening is we're going to get into the games, and then as we go through the games, the various combatants in said games will go through their, you know, anything you want to talk about in regards to their off season, or, you know, comings or goings or whatever. I guess we start with the Dragons, who are playing the bye in the first week, and look, these signs of disrespect aren't accidental, with the Dragons getting the bye in round 1, and fast forward ahead until like round 10 when Magic Round happens, and the Knights are the ones that aren't getting to go up and appear in Magic Round. Not accidental, I don't think.
Not at all.
So the Dragons, what a shame they don't have a game, because holy fuck, they had an absolute world all-timer for off seasons. You had fucking Talatau Amoni chasing the guy up on the roof with a fucking hammer. Yeah. You had murderous Frank Molo fucking shifting to more crimes, trying to rack up charges like they're fucking Pokemon, catch them all. And they had fights with players. They multiple scuffles at training at different times with different pairs of players.
Yep.
people liked them for the spoon last year, and they actually punched above their weight and looked good at times, and finished out obviously out of the running, but far above the spoon though at the same time. This time, dare we say that they're a contender this year again?
A spoon contender, fucking 1000%.
Look at the Dragon. Their players, their comings and goings, they're pretty much shuffling the deck chairs, though. I mean, like they got in the illustrious players like Lids, like your mate Lids and Musgrove, Glennie. Ben Murdoch-Masila, who I'm frankly surprised he's still playing. Paul Turner from the Gold Coast, and losing also such immense talents as Daniel Alvaro, Tarek Sims, Josh Maguire, Jackson Ford, Jet Ski, George Burgess and Andrew McCullough retired. I mean, that's like an absolute fucking roll call for washed cunts. In and out.
Yeah.
Right?
It's an ordinary roster all round. And you would think with those players going that would improve the roster, but it's still fucking ordinary. I think Little will go okay, but only because he's there to replace McCulloch. So any ways up.
Yeah.
From there, if he can stay healthy.
He's got 20 years on the legs.
If he can stay healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, Little's had that many injuries. He's probably got the legs of an Andrew McCulloch. We may find that out this season, but I wasn't surprised to hear that Musgrove was involved in the off-season shenanigans. Yep. Doesn't surprise me at all. He did keep his nose reasonably clean at the Tigers, but he's got it in his game. So, look, I long for a Dragon spoon because fuck the Dragons and fuck their fan base. That's all there is to say. Fuck the Dragons.
I think they're one of the contenders though. I think at this stage, obviously, it's tough to say how teams are going to come out, but I think that you'd have to put them down as one of the early.
There's a few contenders. There's a
gaggle, not favourites, but early contenders.
There's a gaggle of teams that'll be fighting it out for the spoon. And anyone that knows anything about rugby league will know that the Tigers not amongst that gaggle.
Well, all right, you'll get your chance. You get your chance to state your case. The Eels take on the Storm. The first match tomorrow night, Thursday night football at Combank Stadium. The Eels side. What do we got here? They're looking fairly. The Eels have come through the off season, with the exception of the ill-advised taking the suspension instead of the fine from Ryan Madison, which he did try to backpedal on once that there was a multiple week injury to Sean Lane. But they sort of said, no, you got to fucking sit in the situation you created. And so other than that, they kind of they got through the preseason okay. Their side on this occasion, it looks fairly solid. You've got their spine in place with the new 9 Josh Hodgson, and they're taking on the Storm side, who, as we learned over the off season, Pappy is not nearly ready to come back. So Nick Meaney remains the fullback there at this stage, and otherwise, the key players are in place, but their back line, it's not looking as ominous as it has in years gone by.
There's some plotters. William Warbrick, Remus Smith.
Yeah, Warbrick had a good preseason. Yeah, did you watch preseason games though?
The Tigers had a good preseason. Remember that time they got a standing ovation? How did that work?
Yeah, well, that was like the year
point
before
is,
last, wasn't
good
it?
preseasons mean fuck all.
That's going way back in the archives. You were going to say something before you cut off there?
Everyone healthy. This is a fucking great first round clash. Melbourne would obviously be smarting from the way they went out last year. and Parramatta obviously smarting from their absolute fucking embarrassment of a grand final they played in. But I think for them, the real key, like Reid Marnie's a big loss.
Yep.
You know, he did very well and was probably undersung in terms of linking their 6 and 7. These days, more and more times, you see the 6 and 7 drifting to the same side of the field to combine with each other. Brown and Moses just didn't fucking do that at all.
And the Eels are going to struggle to win penalties without Marnie fucking flapping his wings from dummy half after every single play of the ball.
So, yeah, the world's biggest fucking fake natty at hooker. We'll see how he goes. I wonder how many fucking bulls had their scrotum sacrificed to pump juice into him this week.
How do you reckon Harry Grant, like he's going to have to play 80 minutes now with no cheese? I think he'll
It's
be
all right.
sweet.
He's ready. He's ready for it. And remember, a lot of the time,
as good as I think Brandon Smith will be for the Roosters, and we'll get to them, I just think the Storm won't actually miss him that much.
well, you got to remember as well that the Storm were using him when they were making the changes. There was a lot of time where they would use Brandon Smith just as a back rower.
Yeah.
So, like, it wasn't like it was this like 1-2 punch where they were sharing the 9 and taking breathers and just changing over. I mean, Harry Grant, even when Cheese was on the field, I mean, a lot of the time he was playing the 9 role anyway. So I think he'll be fine.
Although what remains to be seen, and this I think will be a massive story. Bellamy's obviously come out and said it's his last year, so he's finally confirmed that he's going at the end of the season. What that does for the Melbourne Storm, does it galvanise them to send him out a winner? Or is he too far past peak, I will fucking scream and eat your children if you do one thing wrong, Bellamy, and too much now into this fucking zen, let's everybody be calm and friends, Bellamy, that he can't get them out of his players anymore?
He's going to be... Yeah, I don't think... Yeah, he's going to be the same. He's going to be the... I mean, the guy, the guy's a professional.
100%.
Look,
I don't
still think he's in
his
control
style or anything like that. He's going to do what he does.
Whilst ever he's in control, he can ruin careers or lives as he sees fit. And I don't think I still don't think he'll
genetic lineages
hesitate whilst he's in that seat. So.
Yeah, but think back to last year. You remember there were those games where Melbourne looked a little bit rudderless, and it was Cheese that would come on and really get them back on the front foot. Like, I can think of 2 or 3 games where they were just, like, I guess, treading water. And it took him to come on and score some points or set somebody up to really galvanise that squad.
So, a lot of those times, though, as well, though, I mean, they went through a period of time where they didn't have, Hughes and Munster on the same, same time on the field, So, yeah, I don't have a lot of... put a lot into that.
I'm tipping Melbourne. I'm tipping Melbourne to finish 5th this year and Para to finish 9th. Yep.
9th?
Doing ladder predictions, Glennie.
Ladder predictions is everything.
I think Para are going to have a slide.
Fucking hell. Someone write this down.
The Moses thing
based on
and Brad Arthur
what aspect?
Is a peaks and troughs kind of coach. I think Para's going to have a slide, and Arthur may be lucky to hang on to his job.
Yeah. We can only hope. But then that when they get rid of Arthur, it brings them closer to premiership success and breaking the enjoyable drought.
Yeah, that's it.
So we have mentioned
Reid
Marnie. I think that's a massive loss for them, and
huge.
I think they're one of the teams that to have a bigger slide this season.
Yep.
Okay, the early Friday game, the Warriors take on the Newcastle Knights. Now, the Warrior side, they had a fair bit of players coming and going across the off-season. Let me just scroll down and find where I've got that list. There we go. So, they welcome in Murata Nukore, Luke Metcalf, Dylan Walker from Manly, Mitch Barnett, Charles Nickel Klukstar, Tamari Martin, Jackson Ford, and Braden Williami coming back from France.
Whoa.
So,
Jesus.
And they'd offset the losses of Cody Nikorima, who went to South during the season last year, Matt Lodge to Roosters, the same deal. Jesse Arthurs goes back to Brisbane after the loan. Ewan Aitken, Reece Walsh, Eliasa Katoa, Aaron Penne, Jack Murchie, Ben Murdoch-Masila, and then a ton of releases from such as Dejan Arce, Channel Harris DeVita, Dynamis Louis, and more. And then Ash Taylor, of course, retired early on in the piece.
Certainly did.
Last season. Pokey player. Right. And where's his favourite horn?
I don't have that
Glennie?
information.
You all over it, are you?
There has to be, doesn't there?
Like the Railway Hotel. Is there a Railway Hotel? There's a Railway Hotel
There's
everywhere, isn't there?
There's got to be a commercial somewhere.
Or the Queen's Arms.
Yeah, commercial, yeah.
Yeah, there's a spotted cow.
Isn't it like a spotted cow or
But
something?
I just feel like the railway or the commercial, not that I know, I'm not part of this circle in Toowoomba, but I'm pretty sure that's where the clan rallies would happen, at one of those.
Right. So the Newcastle Knights, they of course are quite a new look side where it counts really. Bringing in your mate Jackson Hastings to play halfback. Lockie Miller comes in from the Sharks to play fullback, and resulting in Kalen Ponga moving to the 6 again to try his luck in the halves, which he did. What was it? 2 years ago.
Yeah.
For about the first couple of rounds, the first 5 or 6 rounds, I think he had to go.
And then
at
people
5'8".
realised he couldn't tackle, and he went back to fullback.
Yeah. Well, short-term memory.
And what do they do with poor
Ain't
Lockie
great.
Miller, the rugby sevens guy? How's he going to go? He's fucking hell. Be some fair old tackling practice between those two at night's training.
Yeah, fucking oath.
Yeah. So, what do you make of their prospects and this game?
I think Jackson Hastings is a good signing.
Neither of them had
Still sad to see him go, if I'm honest. But as the illustrious,
So tell me, how can Kalen Ponga fly?
And regardless of what
role,
Jackson Hastings does, I think
if Jacko Hastings is touching the ball 120 times a game.
Kalen Ponga's not a 6. So regardless of what Jackson Hastings does, I don't think Kalen Ponga is going to fly, as you put it, in the 6. Whilst I was lunching with Hollywood Elite over Christmas, the man with the mobile rubbish dump, the great man, Samuel Haywood, had some interesting things to say about Jackson Hastings, and probably started to change my opinion on how devastated I was that he'd left the Tigers, in that there has to be a reason that they let him go, and there has to be more to it than just his performances on the field. And he's got form.
Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Hang on.
Much as doctors found a reason to invent chemotherapy, is that what you're saying?
Hang on. So yeah, okay. So there has to be a reason.
But like when you're talking,
right.
I sort of trailed off my attention span.
There has to be a reason for everything.
But it made some sense.
Now, have you, Glennie? Have you heard
fuck.
the
Here we
theory
go.
of Occam's razor?
Welcome to J-Splain.
That the simplest explanation for something. No, the simplest explanation something. Don't celebrate ignorance, you dumb cunt.
Still J-Splaining.
The simplest explanation for something is usually the right one, right? So, yeah, there has to be a reason they let him go. That is because the Tigers are a fucking dumpster fire of a club and let go the most loyal half they have
ignorance?
to keep the guy that fucking gave an ultimatum to the coach and said, if you don't play me where I want to play me
you
in
keep
Reggie's.
clinging to that, mate.
That's what happened.
Anyway, we're talking about the Knights.
That's the reason.
About the Knights.
That's the reason.
Try and keep up. I feel like the Warriors are going to win this game. They're at home. I think they'll be pumped in front of their home crowd. They've made some good signings. Does Sean Johnson come back to some reasonable form? He fell off a fucking cliff last year. Tamari Martin, I think that's a good solid signing for the Warriors. CNK at the back is also solid.
Massive.
So I think the Warriors at home will beat the Knights. And I have the Knights finishing.
Agreed.
While trial form is and everything, the Knights had an extremely fucking unhappy trial period. Yeah, and the Warriors weren't.
I do have these two
either,
teams
they
being
did jag a win in
fairly
there, so.
closely matched over the course of the season. Warriors I've got for 13th. Warriors, and the Knights 14th.
Right, so that means you put the Knights as one of the teams dancing with the Dragons, potentially for the wooden spoon.
Last.
You must. Where'd you have the Dragons on the? Where'd you have them on your list?
Last, where they belong.
Last,
with
okay,
their fan
cool.
base.
All right. I think we're unanimous again on that one too, because I got the Warriors as well for that game.
Yep.
Late game on Friday, the Panthers take on the Broncos at Bluebet Stadium in Penrith. The Panthers side looking that's about as close to full strength as they are.
Yeah, you'd say so.
Yeah, and like the Sonny Luke era is sort of beginning. I mean, Mitch Kenny, he's not that guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that the World Club Challenge showed us.
No, he's not.
He ain't the guy. He still retained the 9 jersey though to start in this game.
It's only a matter of time. He's just keeping the seat warm.
And the Broncos.
For Tyrone Peachy to slip that number 9 on his back and relive old past glories. Fucking delightful.
Jesus. The title of this episode is just celebrating ignorance.
It is funny though. Like when you look at the Panthers off season, in terms of the comings and goings with player, I'm going to be very selective here, obviously, because it supports my argument. But losing the likes of Appy, Kickout, Sean O'Sullivan, let's stick to those guys, and replacing them with the likes of Tyrone Peachy,
hang on a sec,
Jack Cogger,
Oh.
and then. Yeah,
fucking golden balls.
You're going to say what now?
Golden balls playing in the West. It's
Son of Golden balls played.
You mean premiership winning?
Listen,
Waterboy Jack
I reckon
Cogger.
Jack Cogger can do what Nathan Cleary couldn't. Yeah, exactly.
Put ice in his veins for real, or and like the Broncos. Look, they're I mean, they've dumped some plotters, and but I tell you, have they brought some into? They are the in the game of musical chairs. They were the first ones to find out they didn't have a chair, and Marty Tapau came up and joined them. So the Broncos offloads are going to go up by 300%. But they are all going to land in the hands of the opposition or on the ground.
If your offload is intercepted or knocked on, pretty sure that's not a positive statistic.
No.
Yeah. No, sir, it does not. Broncos, I mean, didn't look incredible in the preseason either. Panthers, they're fine. Obviously.
The reality is the same as it is for the last fucking 2 years. They are the team to beat, and everyone wants their scalp. So they will go through this season again with everybody playing their best brand of footy against them. Brisbane will want to come out and get an upset round 1, surely. But it's a younger group than the last one. Like the last time when they won their first ring, then came back. They lost Birdo and a couple of guys, but
this is the year they've actually lost some crucial quality.
So there's some big changes.
Because if they had lost Kickout last year, maybe I wouldn't have thought the same thing. But I mean, he was actually great last year. So losing him this year is actually a loss for how the. Yep. I mean, because I do feel he contributed in a way that got him there. And Appy obviously. And
this is going to be this needs to be their new normal. This needs to be their new normal in terms of if you are going to be the side to beat, if you're going to be there or thereabouts every single season, then you are going to shed players. There might be a couple of years where if you've got a young enough squad, you can get away with one or two or no one of really big importance. But other clubs are that fucking redacted that they just think, oh, that player did good for that club and they won the premiership. We will open a big checkbook. They will come here and then we will win premiership too. And if you don't know, I'm just being the Bulldogs fucking
the Bulldogs.
chairman. But you need to accept it. We need to be talking about, just like we do with Melbourne. Name players that have left Melbourne's system and gone on to be successful. There's Greg Inglis and there's James Maloney on a technicality. And that's about it.
Matt Orford won a premiership after leaving the Storm.
But he wasn't. But he wasn't great. He did like one good season, then he was busted forevermore.
Well, I think.
So you're putting Matt Orford up there with Greg Inglis?
Well, I'm just saying he had success after leaving the Storm.
No, I didn't say who had success. Who was great after they left?
Oh, he was great for a year. He was great for 2, actually.
Well, am I the only one you're going to have a crack at?
We
about
need
celebrating
to be that with Penrith. We need.
Come on now.
Come on, Oxy, come on.
Look, he's right. He won a premiership.
Yeah.
And Dally M as well that year.
So,
I mean, you can't argue.
now, hang on. Now we're celebrating fucking ignorance. Luke Brooks was also at fucking...
No, he won the... Didn't Orford win the actual Dally M?
No, but
that whole
Ox,
fucking thing's ignorant.
No, Ox won the whole thing. He won the whole thing.
The whole thing's fucking ignorant. It should be called the fucking Igni-Ems.
The team of the year thing isn't real. That's participation trophy.
I think we're probably in a stage now with the Panthers where, like you mentioned about the Storm, that their system. I think the Panthers system will prove to be, given the junior nursery that they have to draw from and the academy and all the pathways programs and the way that they have set it up. I think it's amazing. It's a testament to the club. So, and I may have mentioned, I'm sure I might have said this, Jay, in one of the membersodes leading up to this, but I think that sort of production line certainly coming out of Penrith, I think guys like Kikau or, big, fast Polynesian edge back rowers, I think the prevalence of those type of players through the system is going to be quite high. So I think you replace Kikau okay. Yep. I think outside backs, quick, big centres, great feet, all the rest of it, and wingers. Again, I think that production line is going to be really strong. And we've mentioned it before. I just don't know that you can just turn the tap on and get another hooker like Appy. And it'll be interesting to see how Penrith and Cleary's a great coach. He's going to make some adjustments for the team to play to what their strengths are right now, not what they were last year or the year before. So I back him to overcome it, but it's you've also
it's still a very simple brand of football that they play. They save a lot of their forwards for purely defensive work. And they use those, like you say, those big, skillful outside backs to gain territory. Yeah. It's not a fucking complex form of football. But what they have to get really good at now, they got good at getting the talent. They got good at managing the talent. 2 premierships in a row. Absolutely good, fantastic. But now they have to get good at managing successful talent. So that then means things like, well, fuck, we need to take into consideration what happens if we win a ring this year. Who's going to be offered more money and what are we going to have to do to keep them? So while you don't ever want to, stop people going and making, you don't want to pay overs for anybody. So they need to start getting really good at that, as Melbourne was, and the Roosters to a certain extent, of managing that roster to be, well, that's fine, but we're not going to lose big chunks at a time. So
you identify who the expendable pieces are, and
that's it.
What do you know about Taruva?
Yep. But the other thing, mate, so enough that I'm not unhappy. I haven't paid it. Well, I haven't.
Good chat.
Mate, again, it comes down to, like, the success of these guys very often is in their hands. And the difference between a guy that shows all the potential in the world but never actually becomes an elite player, and the guys like the kickouts who come through and all of a sudden they're They're the talk of the town, and they're on all the TV ads and all the highlight reels. He worked really hard on his handling, so that wasn't ever really a problem for him. And he worked really hard on his discipline, because he was like to get out of control every now and again, and you'd get that kick out that would give away stupid penalties at the worst possible time, or like in the grand final that we saw. Like there were a couple of near kick out brain snaps that would have cost us the game. Yep. But that part of a player's game is a complete unknown until they get into first grade, and until they've been in first grade for 10 weeks and they're fucking wrecked mentally and their body's sorer than it's ever been before, and they still have to get up and go out and play for 80 minutes. But yeah, all things being equal, you know, they'll be fine. So Penrith by 50.
Anyway, Panthers will beat the Broncos by like 32 points.
Yeah, I think Penrith win. I've got Penrith finishing second on the year, Broncos finishing 12th.
So when you say second on the year, that means losing the grand final, or second in the minor premiership? Okay, all right.
Just very quickly, have you predicted what's going to make the entire first grade squad miss 12 games?
Just my opinion, mate. Just my opinion. Hopefully...
Nice.
Hopefully a massacre.
You're entitled to your opinion, Glennie.
I don't want to wish for too much.
Hashtag respect round. You respect Glennie's opinions, all right? First game on Saturday.
Stop trying to make that fucking stick. It's not going to happen.
No, Glennie.
I've literally said it to you once, and then I said it to you second time just now.
Glennie, we want it to stick.
Yeah.
We want it to stick.
Yep.
It's like hyphenating your fucking kid's last name with your wife and then divorcing her. We want it there forever for him to look at.
Yep. Fucking bring it. I accept it. I accept it with gratitude. The universe has provided me with a fucking opportunity with which to push my chips in, and I intend to do it. And fuck the haters. I'm all in. Amazing what a difference fucking, like, you know, six or so months, like a single off season makes. The vibes around the fucking club are immaculate right now.
Ready to be unleashed.
Young players actually getting a chance and having a voice, and not being held forever behind players, you know, like old players that just get played because
I agree. Cooper Johns at 6 is a masterstroke,
and as we saw in the trials as well, so much. I mean, he was an injury stroke, but having said that, he was actually amazing in those trial games. But the way that players that have stepped up over a single off season, like Kyo Weeks, and there's a number of others, but Gordon Chankum Tong, who's the hooker in waiting, he was the revelation of the preseason. A little nuggety guy, impossible to tackle because he's 2 foot tall, and with speed, with power to bust tackles.
It sounds like a throwback to Jay's fucking whoring season.
They only upgraded
the cum tongs.
Yeah. Oh, the cum dog, the little cum.
What am I going to use to clean this up? Oh, just go and grab the cum tongs.
And you're just going to see.
Has anyone else nicknamed him Cum Tong Millionaire yet?
No, that's the first time. We've been trying to workshop what we're going to call him. But Cum Tong Millionaire is a good one. But the thing is, he's been named in 22 for this game, but he's outside our top 30. So, and I was like, what the fuck's going on here? How can you name a player that's not in? You can't have players in your development squad play until round 11. So what? Yeah, well, I mean, the Harvard education really shone through, because what actually happened was Manly obviously was so happy with his performances in the preseason and his development over a single off season, is that they petitioned the NRL to get a a relaxation or an exemption or whatever, and bring him into the 30s straight away. And today they rewarded it. So I think we're going to see him sooner rather than later, probably starting off the bench. KO Weeks in 14. Look, it's not my favourite position for him. I guess he's going to play the role of Dylan Walker, except he won't be, throwing big titty bitches to the ground by the hair and bashing people at the pizza shop, hopefully. But what he did show over the preseason, we've finally got a genuine fullback there that it's not going to be the end of the world if Tommy gets injured again. But, he's probably never going to get injured ever again, I'd say. Certainly not the hamstrings, because he's been over to the master man, fucking Knowles in Boston, and the man that fixed fucking TWIL, among others. And I expect that the results there are going to be similar. Like Callum Wilson back in 2018, first game back after working with Knowles, scored a hat-trick. Came from nowhere then to represent England in soccer. Latrell, he came back from Knowles last year, best player in the comp. So I expect to see a similar season to 2021, where Tommy was the greatest player.
I can see him playing
the single greatest
8 games and then someone picking him up with the cum tongs and throwing him to the fucking dumpster where he fucking belongs. We will fucking see. But the doggies, miserable pre-season. They've spent so much fucking money on a new coach, new fucking everything. They've created themselves the best and fastest race car money could buy with the parts that were available on the market. And then they stick Kyle Flanagan as the driver. How do I get this thing out of reverse?
So
they're 1 through 4 for all the fucking spruiking about the Bulldogs and their fucking recruitment and their fucking superstars and what's happening next season. Yeah. And we've got another Panthers player. How fucking great! Their 1 through 4 is fucking horrible. It's barely New South Wales Cup worthy.
Yeah, and then you look at the bench though, Glennie.
It's worse.
Corey Waddell, after spending millions of dollars, the Bulldogs still find a place in the 17 for Corey Waddell of all fucking people. Now look, truthful, let's acknowledge that the truth here is that the doggies do have some injuries going into that first round. But I mean,
so they've got no depth for all the money they've spent. There is
Manly's not
no
in full strength lineup. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Manly's not putting up a full-strength side either at the moment. I mean, because Brad Parker's still there because they're waiting for fucking Saab to come back before Garrett goes to centre. But I'm fairly happy with the side. I'm fairly happy with the side this week. I'm happy with the way the direction things are moving. It's been a breath of fresh air through the place. Flano has obviously been just fucking injecting the boys, every other day, and they're all looking absolutely fucking yoked. And then Siebes has given them obviously that benefit of the Harvard education. So they're going to come out there like these fucking jacked geniuses. And
I've got the Dogs missing the 8,
one,
finishing
on the
10th,
doggies.
Manly scraping in and finishing 8th.
Oh, that's an improvement, Glennie. I appreciate that.
It is, I know you gave your race car analogy. But when you were younger, did you ever have that mate that you were going out on a Friday night and it was like he's just gotten like eight different issues of GQ magazine, all 2 years apart, and gone and bought $1,000 piece of clothing from each of them, and he's put it all on together, and just looks absolutely fucking putrid.
Jay, I've always commended you.
That's the Bulldogs.
Being a very fucking well-dressed man. So that analogy really does apply to you because you wear some great clothes, but underneath the clothes, it's still a cunt. And that is the Bulldogs.
Well, under 50% of it.
Is it 50%?
A cunt,
Not that. Typically,
Look,
not
near
that
enough
big.
of the case for the sakes of arguing.
I don't know.
And then this week, the doggies they're gonna fucking get it.
Yeah, I think Manly at home should beat the Bulldogs.
Look, I think as long as they can't score, 18 to 22 points a game from Burton kicking to Fox.
Yeah,
they're going to lose.
They're going to. I tell you, the lock of the week. I mean, is that they are going to fucking score a try that way.
Yeah,
because there's one single negative on the entire Manly fucking preseason, and it was the play of Christian Tuipulotu. Guy's fucking hopeless. There are better options. I can't wait. I mean, yeah, obviously he's got a little bit of tenure, so he's going to have the role at least for round one. But once Saab comes back from injury, and then they can do the thing where Rubes moves to centre and stuff like that, then we're going to see how fucking solidly he has that fucking spot in the side, because he's the only question mark I've got on there. And as a result, I think most definitely that Burton kick to Fox is going to yield a try minimum.
Yeah,
minimum.
That's it.
It may be the only points they get, and it may be the only way they get points in the game, but it's going to fucking yield points for them for sure.
Yep.
The Cowboys take on the Raiders Saturday afternoon up there at the Abattoir in Townsville. The Cowboy side looking pretty settled. I mean, there was a good preseason outside of the the absolute laughable first round of the preseason where all the Queensland sides played each other and played out draws. Cowboy sides they're looking like they stepped off the field last year. I mean, they kept their pieces in place, and I expect them to back up pretty well this year as well. The Raiders, though, I know we can't read too much into trials, but they looked fucking hopeless.
Well,
like hopeless across 160 minutes of trial football.
I like to read a lot.
They looked fucking hopeless,
and they fucking obliterated the Raiders. Obliterated them. Without Brooks and without...
And that's why the Canberra Raiders are the favourites for the spoon. Was there a... do you know, was there a standing ovation at any point?
Does that count? I'm pretty sure everyone kept their seats. Everyone kept their seats.
No. I mean, no.
Yeah.
Boys, they've been burned before.
Keep a lid on it. There was no media story saying Luke Brooks is ready to be unleashed, and there was no standing ovation for a trial win.
Yes, there was. I'm sure there was. I'm sure there was another unleashed one.
I reckon the Raiders.
Yeah,
they're going to slide.
I had one.
I think they're going to finish around 11th. I think the Cowboys will be top 4, finishing. I've got them in 4th spot, and I'm fucking here for the Raiders not being good. Their fans are fucking smug cunts. Mike Stevenson in particular.
Yeah. It was a shit couple of years when they were contenders, wasn't it?
But I look forward to the Tigers now continuing to insert the dominance that they now hold over the Raiders after a thoroughly deserved trial win.
Yeah, I think fuck talking about the Tigers because they're not playing this game. On this occasion, we're saying that the Cowboys, I think at home, going to win the game very easily.
For the Raiders, especially you consider a Savage is out for, he's got a fractured jaw, so he's out for
how long have they put on that?
4 to 6 weeks minimum.
Long enough to take their entire season and throw it off a cliff.
By the time he comes back, he's a strike weapon for their attack.
And
Sebastian Chris ain't that, and I don't like the Raiders at all, and I think the Cowboys, as you said, there's a lot of stability there. They've only got room to grow from what they built last year. So I think the Cowboys will be a really good side.
Can I put it to you that Sticky has lost it with Danny Levi winning the number 9 jersey for round 1 and Starling coming off the bench at 14?
That's a fucking strong.
Yeah.
Unless he's got a scheduled interchange for the 4th minute of the game to bring Starling on.
And you've got Wolford in the extended squad too.
Sorry. Yeah, he's in the and he was good. And he was good in limited opportunities.
So you'd think Starling would be your first pick, and then Wolford would be your second at worst. And Danny Levi, why you've recruited him in the first place is fucking bewildering.
The Canberra comings and goings in recruitment over this off season. on paper, looks like some of the worst in the entire competition, if not the worst. Losing Sam Williams, Josh Hodgson, Adam Elliott, Charles Nickel-Klukstad, Ryan Sutton, and bringing in Pasami Solo and Danny Levi, and that's it.
That's not good reading.
Like, it's pretty ugly, yeah. No.
Fuck the Raiders.
But
Fuck
also,
all the forklifts.
who's crying? Not me.
No, they're the forklifts.
Oh,
They're not the milk anymore. They're the forklifts or something, are they? Yeah, the forklifts. And did you see that Canberra Milk are closing their last production facility in Canberra and moving, shifting it to Penrith?
It's now going to be called 1991 Milk.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. So, the Sharkies take on the Rabbitohs on Saturday night at PointsBet Stadium. The Sharks side, again, they had a pretty good. They had a pretty good trial series. They look like they're fairly settled, I think, and they're probably hoping and looking like they can potentially build on what they did last year. Lineup as well is fairly settled in terms of turnover of the first 17. Rabbitohs also looking fairly good. Also very settled as well. I expect both of these sides to, potentially contend, be in the top four. And, a lot of people have got the Rabbitohs, stepping up and perhaps
I got them in third.
Being favourites to win the comp.
Top four. Sharks a little bit lower in sixth, but I'm looking forward to this game probably more than most others for round one. As you say, both teams are reasonably settled and were good teams last year, so I think Latrell has to be among the favourites for the Dally M, with an off season under his belt in the way that he was playing at the end of last year. So I think the Rabbitohs will beat the Sharks in round one.
As ugly as the reading was for the Canberra Raiders off season recruitments and losses, the Rabbitohs one, they didn't bring anyone in, but they lost Mark Nichols, Cody Nikorima, Josh Mansour, Richie Kenner, and Jackson Paulo. So that's 5 players. That's a +5 game.
South's have had a glow up.
Yeah.
Like without they really have. So we'll see what they can do. As for the first week, it's tough. I think this is probably one of the more in terms of games consisting of good teams, this is one of the more evenly matched games in the first round, I think. I mean, I'm going to favour the South Sydney Rabbitohs.
Cronulla, I think.
But, yeah. Yep. Next up, the Dolphins take on the Roosters at Suncorp Stadium. The Dolphins, well, they gained everyone. All of them. Lost no one.
Fucking strong club. Didn't lose a single player in the season.
Yeah, ton of turnover with the Roosters as well, losing some people. Some players that have performed very well for them, like Sam Verrills and SST. Lachlan Lamb obviously had some great times there as well. But obviously a big signing too with Brandon Smith, as well as some plotters like Jake Turpin and Corey Allen. But the Dolphins, look, they weren't great in the trial. They had got absolutely fucking caned by the Titans in the second trial game, and the first game they played out a draw against was against the Bronx, was it, or was it Cowboys? I fucking forget now. But look, I think we're gonna have to wait and see with the Dolphins a little bit, because it's really easy to say, oh, okay, they're going to be the spoon favourites
in a competition that includes the St George Illawarra Dragons. I say no.
It's just such an unknown, though, because I mean, like, their forwards, while generally on the older side, are an experienced group,
exactly,
and experienced together for some.
Yeah, that you think could lay somewhat of a platform. I mean, Sean O'Sullivan has proved that. I mean, he's a good halfback. I mean, admittedly, it's a lot easier playing in some systems than others.
Yep,
but
I think Wayne Bennett's coaching alone, as well as the experience in the forward pack, I think that those two factors are enough for the Dolphins not to get the spoon. It's also aided and abetted by the fact that I think the Titans and the Dragons are going to be horrible. I've got the Dolphins finishing 15th, but I do have them losing this game by a fair margin.
Can I
You
tell
think
you
the Titans are going to? You think
Yes.
you think the Titans are going to be worse than the Dolphins?
Well,
Okay,
like Glennie, we were talking about this on the membersode though. Like, and I know, fuck the Dragons, but like Ben Hunt is single-handedly going to drag them to a couple of victories over some non-top 8 teams.
Yeah, I agree.
He did it for them last year. Like he had a career season last year in terms of his personal form.
And I wrapped him every week for it.
And was and this isn't 100%. And I don't think I have seen a single player have such an impact on a team in recent memory. There was Jared Haynes' great season where obviously he scored a lot of tries.
It was 8
That
weeks.
was fine. That was all athletic ability and all that shit. Like Ben Hunt, he physically put that team on his back a bunch of times and dragged them to wins. I'm not sure the Dolphins have that player. And like we were talking about on the membersode we did, that's the key area where I feel let down by the club and its recruitment. Who are all the kids saying, I want that jersey
end
off?
of list.
Like well, honestly, the biggest name at that club is the fucking coach. And so you've...
Yeah, and I mean, as far as players to get around, I mean, he's really like, maybe the Hammer. I mean, he's a young, good player that hasn't had enough time in his career.
I think that's part of the exciting, aspect of a new team.
But like, here's the thing. But all the fucking, like, throughout sporting history, kids are throwing rolled up bits of paper into a garbage can and screaming out Jordan or Kobe. They're shadow boxing, going, I'm Mike fucking Tyson. No one's fucking grabbing their granny's ass and passing on shit genetics, going, I'm Wayne Bennett.
Yeah, but I mean, these also. I mean, it's, you're comparing the Dolphins here to, like, the Chicago Bulls and the Lakers. I mean, they're the fucking Washington Generals at this point.
Well, no, but that's
what it remains to be seen.
It could be Ray Stone.
Again, you look at any team. Like, who's the worst team? Who's the worst team in the NFL?
The Cleveland Browns.
Traditionally, they said like the teams that have joked about it, like Cleveland Browns and like Detroit Lions recently haven't been great.
Okay, so who's their best player at Cleveland?
Fuck, I've switched off from
Like
NFL brain, bro.
who's their quarterback?
It was Baker Mayfield, but it's Deshaun Watson.
Oh yeah, well, of course it's fucking what's his name? No, it was Baker Mayfield, but now it's Deshaun Watson, who was suspended for the start of the season because he had
sexual assault.
Sexual assault, rape cases on like 28 rape cases in front of him, and they paid him like a guaranteed contract of hundreds of millions of dollars, and he can only play half the season. And when he did start playing again after he was sat out from like a ban, I mean, he played like absolute fucking dog shit as well.
Fuck.
No one's getting Deshaun Watson jerseys if that's what you're going to.
That's what I was going to say. So, sorry, yeah, that's a fucking that's a great fucking.
Fuck your analogy.
So, okay, who's the worst team that doesn't have a rapist at quarterback? And we're probably getting that into high school or maybe primary schools at this
I mean,
stage.
we're talking about the NFL. I mean, I'm sure there's always someone that's done a little bit of fucking raping.
Pittsburgh. Is it? What about the quarterback for Pittsburgh?
Well, someone who's pushed through a hard no. What were you talking about? The one this year or the one last year?
Exactly.
This one last year was a renowned rapist. There's a lot of rapists in the NFL, it turns out. It turns out the quarterback position.
Oh, fucking get me a Ray Stone jersey. Fuck's
But
sake.
who's that player on the field? Look across everyone that they've got. Is there anyone there that you've seen play and you're like, yeah, fucking he's the guy. When shit's hard, he's the guy that'll pull them with him. Yeah,
no, that player has to emerge for this side through the course of the season. Look, my expectations for the Dolphins are low. My expectations for them for this year and Wayne Bennett's he's only got him this year, right? Before he hands over to Christian Wolf. He hands over after 1 year or 2 years.
Does he?
Yeah, he's handing him over, but they've got the succession thing in place. Look, so far my expectations are low, but there's one aspect that I do have high hopes for them, and they are exceeding my expectations so far, and that is Wayne's aura and legacy of sitting up here in Brisbane again, fucking the Broncos, and he signed away Herbie Farnworth and Flegler over the last week, and so I think so far they are ahead of schedule on Wayne fucking the Broncos. Yeah. And so if he can continue to strip some fucking players out of them and just be a general pain in their ass, that's a win for 2023.
How instrumental do you reckon he was to sending Adam Reynolds to Brisbane? Just as we've discovered this newfound passion he has for completely butt-fucking that club.
Yeah, look, I don't think that he would consider Reynolds, Reno being sending him there as like a liability.
For 3 years he would.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's a fucking long game. But as we do know that Wayne does think these things through, and he does hold a grudge. So, look, it's possible. Roosters, of course, should be probably the heaviest favourites of the weekend. I think they'll probably.
Wolf takes over in 2025.
I hope they're not, but I'd like. Yeah. Okay, for the Dolphins' sake, I don't want them to get fucking absolutely slaughtered in their first game.
Yeah, that's it.
But I think the Roosters will cruise to a
Remember last time Wayne Bennett was at the helm of a club, fresh and new, and just unwrapped into the competition.
Yeah, I mean, he did have they were like the Queensland team. No, brilliant. I mean, he brought them all home.
To the current roster for the Dolphins.
So. Yeah. I mean, unless I don't think that we're going to see. I don't think that we're going to unearth the next batch of Queensland Origin greats from like Hammer. Presumably, will make the side and go on and have a career. I don't think Jermaine Isako is going to particularly trouble the selectors come Origin time. I think that he'll give more trouble to the selection panel of Wayne Bennett and Christian Wolf than he does the state of
some sleepless
selectors.
Nights for the Q Cup coach.
Now, yes, that's right. The West Tigers versus the Gold Coast Titans. They are complete round one of season 2023. Playing at look, let me set it up. You've brought back spiritual icons of the club, the coaching triumvirate, Machinius, passing on his skill and wisdom to Benji, who is ably assisted by Robbie Farah. They're playing at Leichhardt Oval, the spiritual
give me 2
home.
secs, mate. I just gotta go grab a cold spoon.
It's an emotional,
just a teaspoon, just a little one.
It's an emotional.
Oh, isn't it what?
It's an emotional big moment for the club. So will it be like Tommy Radonicus's fucking tributes?
I just think
which
that
are all probably the last
course
big
of
games
the
the club
plays. And it's going to be an interesting watch to watch you both dramatically change your perception and your understanding of the West Tigers as a club. And I think it starts on Sunday at 6:15 p.m. when I see it playing out. How do you see it playing out? Destroying the fucking Titans for 80 minutes and running off. That's how I see it playing out. But this is a new era. It's a new day. It's a new dawn. It's the golden era for the club, and we'll look back generations from now and say 2023 was the year where people were forced by me to eat their fucking words that they've been happily trotting out for fucking better part of 2 decades now. It's the tables. How the turntables. You'll all be laughing on the other side of your faces by the time October rolls around. And we'll look back and say, well, we've had another shit year,
okay,
but
Glennie.
At least we won in round one.
Because I'm gonna say you've got a couple of new arrivals. Charlie Staines
Oh,
got absolutely fucking impregnated in your first trial game.
To the surprise of absolutely no one.
Absolutely impregnated.
there was there was someone on the Facebook group that had the opportunity to call it, and they said, "Oh, he got impregnated and aborted at the same time." And if they'd have just typed "impreg-boarded," that would have been hashtag of the year, fucking hands down.
Now, how do you think Knopfler's going to back up after
he's
his first ever finals campaign?
Knowledge, wealth of experience, and he'll pass that on to his teammates, and the club will be better for it. I expect him to no longer bemoan the efforts of his A and his B defenders. I think he'll take them under his wing like the experienced, high-level Tier 1 winger that he is. Tui at 6, Brooks at 7, Appy at 9, Dano, the number 1 jersey. What a fucking spine! Stop it!
Look, it's an absolute. I mean, bringing Appy into the side is obviously huge.
Yeah.
Also, getting rid of Tamo as well, huge.
Yeah.
And I mean, and while I'm not going to fall in love with David Clemmer, I mean, he's a fucking miles ahead of.
I'm willing to give David
2022
Clemmer the benefit of the doubt.
James
I
Tamo.
don't know that I was a massive fan of the signing, but definitely a big fan of. No, yeah,
he wasn't happy at the Knights though too. So I mean, how he plays in a happy home,
that was one thing that you guys definitely need, was somebody who, when you're behind, if it's a close game for the Tigers and they're behind by 30. And there's 7 minutes to go, someone that'll really fucking rev up and try and put dumb, fake tough man hits on people. That's what you need.
Very focused.
That's the key to success for you.
On representing the Campbelltown area and the western suburbs of Sydney as a whole. And, starting fights for no apparent reason is definitely part of that. Excited to see Sean Bloor get a starting spot. He's had a rough trot with injuries. He's an absolute talent, and I'm excited to hopefully see him play out a full season healthy. Oh,
he's the fucking Charlie Staines of forwards.
Ignorance. You are celebrating your own ignorance now, which is just sad.
You are celebrating our sloppy seconds
by 30 on a glorious,
you're the Aldi Bulldogs.
At least Dane will have someone to fucking cosplay Penrith with.
As the sun sets over Leichhardt Oval, it will also set on the Titans season. They will not recover from the absolute fucking beating they are in store for.
Look, the thing about the Titans is the Titans have absolutely upgraded at 9 for the first time in fucking ages.
Yeah.
They've actually got like a 9. Yeah, they didn't have one. They've got a legitimate player in 9 now.
Yep.
But then they've taken a backward step. I mean, I know they say that Tanner Boyd played better and won the 7. I mean, but I just don't think sticking him with Kieran Foran is the answer. I don't know why they didn't persist with. Yeah, I think Sexton's a much better player to play.
I don't rate either of them.
Than Tanner Boyd. There's too much of similar. Yeah, I mean, you got to choose one though, right? So.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Nate.
So you're saying they should run out with 16 players, Glennie?
I do think
Glennie
Foran will have a good year. I think I think he's a professional, and
he'll have a Ben Hunt of a year, being the best player in the shit team.
I hope he has a better post-Manly year than last time.
She was a slippery slope.
Well, yeah. I mean, last time was pokies and fucking career-ending injuries.
Yeah, that's it. So.
Yeah. But in this game, though, Glennie, I'm going to put the kiss of death on the West Tigers. They're going to do it for fucking Tommy. They're going to do it for Sheenius.
I'm
going to do it for Robbie.
I'm going to tip the Tigers as well.
I agree with you both. I've got the Titans finishing 16th, and I've got the Tigers finishing 7th for the year, and it'll all start with this game.
I'm not used to this. I'm not used to this whole new fucking 17-team competition, because when you said you had the Titans finishing 16th, I was like, what? You had the Dragons last, didn't you? No, that's right. It's 17.
Seventh.
Okay.
You say, did you say 7?
Conservative.
He said 7.
I've called them to be undefeated
so I'm just going
premiers
to quickly
14
cast
years
my
in a
eye on
row.
the competition. Hang on a second. Hang on. We've got Eels, Storm, Panthers, Manly, Cowboys, Sharks, Rabbitohs, Roosters. I'm having trouble finding... Oh, my God. You know what that means?
Number 9.
My top 8.
Number 9.
My top 8. And I've done
I'm
my
having
research and I've
trouble.
come prepared.
I'm having trouble finding
Roosters,
8 teams.
Panthers,
that are better
Rabbitohs,
than the
Cowboys,
Tigers.
Storm, Sharks,
Nathan.
Tigers, Manly. That's my top 8.
Glennie identifies as the Tigers being in the 8.
Well, you know, we must respect that. Hashtag
That's it.
respect round.
Yep.
I'll get on the phone to fucking Josh, our lawyer, and make sure that he's on board.
Tell them to come up and mow my lawn.
Yeah, we'll respect that, Glennie.
Tell them to come up
We
and mow
respect
my
that you
lawn.
identify as Tigers in 7th.
Fuck, Glennie, you're lucky there's nothing in the Bible about dumb cunts, eh?
We shall see. Laugh it up now.
Fuck it up.
Fucking bring it on. This is going to be a
We laugh at
fucking
Tigers
great
in 70
year
says.
for me.
Tigers in
Absolute
70
great
says. All
year.
right.
I'll tell you what, I've
It's
started
gonna
off.
be
I
a great
scored
year
a
for us
try at
anyway,
touch football
fellas.
training last night. It was fucking glorious. Actually,
And how'd the universe treat you? How'd the universe treat you for that? What they do to the game tonight?
it wasn't my game tonight. It wasn't
Washed
my
it
game.
out.
It was fucking
They
pre-season.
washed it out, mate. Yeah, they punished the son for the sins of the father.
That's it.
Now, listen, before we wrap up, we've got the tipping comp going again. If you were in the tipping comp last year, you're going to be in the tipping comp again this year. All we do is just change the name, increment it by 1 year, and anytime we mention the year, we just fucking take it up one. And sometimes we forget and it still says 2022, but you know, whatever. If you're in it last year, you're in it now. If you were not in the tipping comp last year, footytips.com.au/comps/TWIL, TWIL 2023. Fucking easy. It's in the Facebook group. We'll paste it around the other spots as well. Get in there, and that's basically it. I don't have anything else really to
No,
say.
we don't have any fucking. Well, there's no rule changes this year. No new interpretations. Is
I
it?
mean, I don't think they've signed the CBA yet, so I'm not. You know, I guess I think they're in principle at the moment. They're going to, right?
Yeah. Look,
I don't think they still have though, have they?
Don't fucking get me started.
Next week.
That'll be a whole nother fucking episode.
Do it on the member side. Speaking of member sides, patreon.com/TwilNation. Tons of tiers, extra content each and every week, plus gear, merch, etc. And also priority access to meetups and stuff, like your Magic Rounds, Grand Final weekends, and so on and so forth, including some Patreon exclusive time where you can press the flesh with Glennie, air your grievances, give me a right fucking kicking.
This year, we're expanding what we're doing on Patreon as well. So there's a whole bunch of different topics and episodes that we'll be covering. So if you've actually ever wanted to be taught how to cook by Nate, to be actually physically, like you're in the room with him, like that scene from fucking Ghost, except without a fucking pot.
Except it's a fucking hot
brisket.
plate.
With fucking Righteous Brothers playing as he gently kneads the flesh. Then,
Because I'm a ghost because fucking James Roberts killed me.
fucking get into Patreon. That shit's great. I love being on them, and I learn heaps from them, so you guys all love them too.
Nice one. And on that note, bring on season 2023. And I hope all of your fucking wishes and dreams for your side come true. Obviously, not everyone can be right. Not everyone can get what they want.
But enjoy this week where anything is possible.
Exactly.
Kevin Garnett week.
Exactly. That's it, boys. Wrap it up.
We did.
We fucking
Let's go.
we pretty much nailed the timing. We're on the clock tonight. Pretty much nailed it. That's about how
Well.
long episodes are going to be. Get used to it. Put it in your planner, in your calendar. Lock it in, and
Good shit.
we'll
There you are.
talk to you
Tigers 7th.
for
See ya.
recaps after the games.